All right. I'm gonna call this meeting to order and start with the pledge of allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right. If there are any members attending through Zoom, please ask that you have your cameras on. If any members of the public would like to comment on an agenda item, please fill out one of the blue comment cards and give it to Tanya in the back corner. If you're attending virtually through Zoom, please place your comments in the chat and Director says Bloomquist. Who is it?
It's
Tanya. Director Aaron Berg. Yep. Okay. So Aaron Berg will call you on at the appropriate time. Comments are limited to 3 minutes per individual. Current policy allows for any item on the agenda to be open for comment. Don't forget to say your name so Tanya knows who you are in the recordings. Are there any written communications?
No, I think we're good.
Right. Let's see, requests, are there any requests from people wishing to speak? Okay. Yes. 2.3 financial report. Are there any questions? No? Okay. On that 2.4 enrollment report. Are there any questions? 2.5 out of state travels. On to 2.3, the consent agenda. All items on the consent agenda can be approved by a single motion unless a member of the board or superintendent Sweeney. It's a hard transition back into the world after break.
Madam Chair,
Yeah.
I would like to amend the action items to include a vote on a new budget committee member.
Okay. Do you want to? Well, it's not on here. So you'd like to add it,
Yes.
the 4.7?
7.5.
7.5 action item.
7.5.
for budget committee member or
Okay.
appropriate.
Yeah.
Go
can you
on.
vote
Just
for
me,
that?
Jeff, stay longer. We tried to get you there. So.
Yeah, can we vote? And then,
Second.
yeah,
Yeah, it's supposed to be on the agenda.
yes. Does that, you made a motion? Second? Anybody?
Brian.
Brian? Having been moved and seconded, we have a roll call vote, Tanya.
Member Nelson,
Yes.
Member Dale Grange.
Yes.
Member Richardson,
Yes.
Member Brownell,
Yes.
Member Coleman.
Yes.
Member Wilkins.
Yes. Okay. So. All items on the consent agenda can be approved by a single motion unless a member of the board or Superintendent Sweeney requests an item to be changed, removed, or voted separately.
Member Brownell, I move that we approve the amended consent agenda.
I second that motion.
Been moved and seconded. Tanya, can we get a roll call vote?
Member Nelson,
Yes.
Member Dale Grange.
Yes.
Member Richardson,
Yes.
Member Brownell,
Yes.
Member Coleman,
Yes.
Member Wilkins.
Yes. All right, moving to reports. 4.1 North Middle School Discovery Program. Principal Blanchard.
Thank you for allowing us to be here. I'd like to start by thanking the school board for all the time and energy they give to our district. I know the pay is high and that it's a well sought after position, which we all know that it is not, but you are very much appreciated, and I'm proud to work for a district that has a group of people like yourselves here to support us and all the efforts that we're doing to provide a great learning environment for kids. So thank you for all that you do. I'm not going to say a whole lot about the Discovery program yet. I'll save that for Mrs. Alderson, but what I'm going to do is toot her horn just a little bit. Roughly 4 years ago or so, our district made an investment in social emotional counselors at the middle school level, and could not be more thankful for that. We think that we have a pretty awesome program, but it's not just a great program that you need to have a wonderful person running that program. And we are lucky in our district that we have Kim Hull over at South, who does a phenomenal job. But we're speaking about North tonight, and our amazing Discovery teacher and SEL counselor is Marina Alderson, who has as big a heart as you're ever going to find for kids, and will do everything and anything to help her kids and our kids be successful. She's got a great group of kids and an awesome assistant, Garrett Nickerson, that she'll introduce and talk about in just a little bit. But I'm proud to have a wonderful program and a great group of people here led by Selena Alderson. So I'd like to bring her on up and let her share a little bit about our Discovery program.
And Miss Mary and kids, come on, let's do this together. Right. Thank you, Tommy. I wasn't expecting that intro, so thank you. And thank you, school board and Superintendent Sweeney, for allowing us to come give you a little glimpse of what happens in Discovery. I've been at this for a few years, and Mr. Nickerson and I get to see every day the amazing things that happen in our Discovery class, but it's rare that we get to show it. And so I'm really excited to give you guys a glimpse. We're going to show you a slideshow that gives you that glimpse. And then we're going to model a daily routine that happens in Discovery. And then we're going to close out with these fine, wonderful kiddos sharing with you how Discovery has helped them personally. Okay, go ahead and. So Discovery is a social and emotional skill building class. It takes the place of an elective. And skills that are taught in Discovery are based on the 5 core competencies of the collaborative for social emotional and academic social emotional learning. The skills are drawn from self-management, self-awareness, responsible decision-making, relationship skills, and social awareness. And those are our huge core competencies, but lots of skills are drawn from those 5 core areas. In Discovery, we use a very precise classroom management system. It's a redirect process. It's positive, it's kind, and it gives the students a chance to have some self-ownership over their own behavior. They're the ones acknowledging when they're off track, and we're helping them get back on track by just giving them little reminders. And they're very positive and kind, and then they agree to fix it. And if they need additional problem solving, we step out in the hall and we problem solve together, and then we come back in to get back on track. One daily routine we have is the circle up. This is about 5 to 7 minutes in the beginning of class every single day. And the students, and us included, we sit in a circle on the floor. We say our name. We identify where we're at emotionally on a scale of 1 to 10. And then we identify an emotion, and we have a little emotion emoji sheet and emotion temperature check sheet right there. If we're having a hard time articulating, we can look at that sheet. And then we answer a fun prompt. And then also we hold weekly class meetings every Wednesday. We have a class meeting where students are able to write an agenda item, an appreciation, or a compliment on a card. And we pull those out and we read those and we discuss. And students can choose if they want to, get help solving a problem, or they just want to give an appreciation or a compliment. And this has been a really positive thing that happens in Discovery. And then we're going to finish our slideshow with just a few pictures so you can see some of the activities that happen in Discovery. This is recent group work, team building activities. They had to build a tall tower, but with a twist. There was one talker who had to give instructions and the rest of the group couldn't talk, and they had to build with one hand. So this was a great team building activity, especially with social emotional skill building of patience and communication. And then another fun activity we did, in fact, we did this one this week too. This is an older picture, but students are given the task of collaborating and designing a fashion piece for me that I will wear. And so they have to get together in groups and design these fashion pieces, and that's a lot of fun. And then also something we've done recently, vision boards. So students have hundreds of magazines to choose from, and they flip through those and find pictures to create a vision board that includes their interests, their goals, things that they enjoy. And there's a picture of a recent portion of our class doing their vision boards. And then just around the room, where you see the tree, that's our calm corner. And then next to that is their group agreements. And then you can see the rug where we hold circle every day. And then we also have a gratitude journal in the classroom that is actually available to the whole school. Word travels fast and there's free candy. So how this works is when a student is feeling grateful, they'll open that up, write something they're grateful for, and get a piece of candy. And that is it. And so we're going to model our circle up really quick for you, kind of show you how it goes. So maybe we can step over here, guys, and demonstrate. Sorry that my back is too, I feel bad about that.
Good.
All right, so we kind of circle up, and would anybody like to start us off? All right, James, you know what to do.
My name is James. I'm feeling 8 out of 10. I'm feeling excited. And what's the prompt?
The prompt is, what is one activity or hobby you could not live without?
One activity or hobby I couldn't live without would probably be hanging out with my cousin over at the park.
Nice.
Mr. Nick, feeling about a 9. Feeling about 9 out of 10, feeling grateful, and activity I can't live without would be walking my dog.
My name is Jad. I'm doing like a 7 out of 10. I'm really nervous, and an activity I can't live without is probably color guard.
Hi, my name is Miles, feeling like a 7 out of 10. And an activity I can't live without is games, I'll be honest.
All right. What type of games?
Video games.
Video games. Okay. Hello, I'm Mrs. Alderson. I'm feeling about a 9 out of 10, very thrilled, and an activity I could not live without is getting out in nature and hiking. All right, that concludes circle. Who wants to count us down? Yes.
3, 2, 1.
All right, and then we return to our desk for learning and practice of skills. Okay, and then we can step right back over here. Mr. Nickerson, I'll ask you first. What is something about Discovery that you've grown to appreciate over the last couple of years we've done it together?
Seeing kids come in and like leave class with new skills. Like my favorite unit that we do is probably the communication unit, and giving kids like the opportunity and tools to learn to advocate for themselves and improve relationships in their lives, like with parents, friends, and with teachers. My favorite part.
And so I'll have you guys share how Discovery has helped you. Would you like to start?
Sure. Discovery has helped me with the most, I'd say, would probably socializing, because we do learn a lot of socializing skills and do a lot of group work. And it has helped me kind of come out of my shell and just learn how to be more myself around other people. And pretty much it's helped me learn how to talk to people and make new friends. So yeah.
Awesome. Thank you, Jazzy. Miles?
Discovery has helped me in like, just kind of getting outside my comfort zone. Sometimes like I am able to talk to people like more often, like without having to really worry about everything. And it also helps me like just refocus in some situations. Like if I'm super stressed about something, I just have to breathe, like do box breathing, which is the one that really helps me out. This, yeah, really works well. Love Discovery.
Awesome. Thank you, Miles and James.
A couple of ways how Discovery has helped me. It's helped me with, if I'm feeling like angry, I could use box breathing like Miles said. And, it's helped me not fight with people as much. And, just probably get along with people more than I used to.
Okay. And would you say it helps in a school setting, but also at home? I think you told me a story that it kind of helps with siblings. Yeah, and then you share a story about siblings. Can you maybe share that? Really quick?
Yeah, so I have a 3-year-old sister, and sometimes I have to watch her while my parents are busy. And me being a 14-year-old watching a 3-year-old, it's kind of rough because she is just a toddler and still learning. And sometimes it's hard for me to deal with, but after learning breathing skills and Discovery, it kind of taught my little sister some breathing. So when she's like kind of being a little hard to manage, we'll stop and I'll tell her to take a couple deep breaths with me. And we'll do that. And then we'll take a little break and then we'll go back to playing.
When she told me that, I almost cried. It's like passing on down to the younger generation. So thank you for that. And I want to just end with a letter. There was a student who wanted to be here tonight, but turns out she couldn't make it. But I do have a letter she wrote several weeks ago, actually, and she said I could go ahead and read that. So she says, as an 8th grade student at North Middle School, I will be going into my freshman year of high school. These past couple of years, you've been my favorite teacher. That's not why I'm reading this. Discovery has been my favorite class. I'm saying this because it's helped me learn how to control my emotions and achieve most of my goals. You've seen me at my worst times and my greatest times and some of my angry times, but I tried not to take it out on you because you don't deserve it. You've also taught me how to help and understand what other people are going through. You also have made me realize that I have a life ahead of me and I always need to keep trying. And through all of that, you have never given up on me. Thank you for that. Lexus Aisa. Just wanted to read that. I think Discovery is an amazing opportunity to teach our kids social emotional skills, and they're using their skills all over the place, not just in Discovery class. So super proud of these guys, and thank you for the opportunity to let them share.
Thank you very much.
Okay.
I had a couple questions.
Oh, question?
Sorry.
Sorry.
So the cards that are those anonymous cards, or do kids, students turn them in or read them out loud from themselves, or?
Cards, which
You mentioned
cards?
in a circle kind of thing.
Oh, class meeting, yes.
Yes.
So I have a little mailbox that sits in my window, and students can write on an index card that's right next to that their agenda item, a problem or an issue they need help solving. And they can put that in that mailbox anonymously. And we share with class that if they want their name spoken, then they write their name on the card. But if they want it to remain anonymous, then they don't write their name.
Okay.
And a lot of times, sometimes if a name is on it, I'll still kind of check and ask, does anyone want to claim this agenda item? Just to give them a second opportunity to not, if they don't want to.
All right, thank you.
Yeah.
And then do you need any old magazines, or do you have plenty?
I would always be willing to take magazines because it seems like they kind of get bored with the ones that I have. So
Okay,
sure, that'd be awesome.
all right, thanks.
Thank you. Any other questions?
Is the program available for 6th through 8th grade, or is it only certain grades?
6th, 7th, and 8th.
Okay, is there any equivalent programs in elementary or high school, or is it just at the middle schools?
I would say probably the BISs and the skills trainers that go in might be doing similar things, but I'm not sure. Okay, she can answer that.
Well, speaking on elementary and then high school, Gladiola Way is the discovery program. That we call it the Gladiola Way. And then you said stepping stones. She doesn't have a voice, so I'll speak for her. The elementary is, and the BIS is the learning centers. You're gonna get a presentation on our learning centers and how that fits into discovery next month, but yes.
Okay.
Great.
So, yeah.
What, do you see a lot of demand for discovery? Like, is there more demand than you're able to provide, or is it?
It depends. It ebbs and flows, I feel like. Having said that, I feel like every single student could benefit from social emotional skill building. So, you know, we have kids that really need more intensive social emotional skill building, getting referred by admin or counselors. And we meet together and we decide who those students are. But then also parents can call up the school, hey, you know, my kid is just struggling making friends. Is there some sort of program or additional help that they can receive socially and emotionally? But then also what's happened occasionally is students hear about it and say, what's this discovery class? I want in this discovery class. And I tell them what it is. And well, I really need those skills. And so it kind of varies. Some quarters more need it than others, some quarters less. So yeah, ebbs and flows.
Okay,
Yeah.
sounds like a great program.
Thank you.
Yep.
Yeah. Any other questions?
All right, thank you.
Thanks.
4.2 district EL presentation.
Well, first we want to say thank you for your time, dedication, and your service. Just like Principal Blanchard said, we appreciate all of you so very much. Principal Smith and I are very excited to introduce Jorge Padilla and Tim Bartolt, who are EL teachers for the district. Jorge works at Redwood and Lincoln, and Tim works at South and Grants Pass High School. And tonight they're going to be explaining a little bit more about the program and giving you a little bit of information about our first annual fall family night for EL. So yeah. So Principal Mooney and I represent obviously the two EL elementary schools. At Lincoln, we have 15 current active EL students, which is roughly 4% of our student population. And at Redwood, there's 26 active EL students, which is roughly 6% of the student population, just so you have a picture of the students that we're serving there. And we are incredibly fortunate. We have a full-time family liaison staff member that works at both of our sites, so that on the days that we don't have Mr. Padilla, we do still have somebody who's providing support for our students and also providing coaching services and all of that great stuff. So super fortunate for that, and I will let them introduce their program. So Mr. Padilla.
Obrigado, Cristina Kelly. Boa tarde a todos. Antes de começar, alguém aqui fala português brasileiro?
Eu falo.
Muito bem. Com licença, meu português brasileiro é horrível.
Também.
Ok, muito bem, muito bem. Como está todos hoje? Bem? Bem?
Tudo bem.
Ok, bem. Meu nome é Jorge Padilha. Eu sou dos professores, pessoa de apoio de aprendizado de inglês aqui em Distrito Escolar de Grants Pass, Escola de Distrito número 7. Trabalho com alunos cujas famílias não falam inglês ou falam outro idioma, além do inglês em casa. Antes de continuar, Alguém tem alguma pergunta? Dúvida?
Onde você aprendeu a falar português?
Boa missão, Maceió, trabalha Brasília, Curitiba.
Curitiba, ok.
Temos
Excelente.
muito mal. Parece ninguém mais, senhor, entende o que estou dizendo. Se eu falo mais alto, me entende? Não. Não. Se eu falar mais devagar, sinais manuais, me entende melhor? Não, ok. Muito bem. Então agora você entende what our EL families and our EL kids are going through. And so this, I just wanted to give you like a little snippet. And again, my Portuguese is for bonus level 1, all the way 1 minus. But anyway, I just wanted to share that with you. So you guys have just a little snippet of what our EL kids and their families go through. Okay. Now I could have chosen Spanish, but there's a lot of Spanish speaking people here. So I was like, no, let's make it a little more challenging. And also too, Portuguese, it has the same Latin base as Spanish and Italian. So if you took Italian or French, whatever, there might be little words you're like hanging on, like, but overall, the message was kind of lost. So just imagine you guys went through 2 minutes of me just bussing through it. Imagine these kids doing a whole day, 5 days a week, and their families. So it's a challenge for these guys. But I'm blessed. I get to be, I feel like I have the coolest job in the district, working with these families, working with these kids. Tim has the second best. He'd have the best too, but he's with middle schoolers most of the day, so it's like. And yeah, so this year we got to have our inaugural EL family night at the beginning of the year. And we got to share some things. It was really great. It was really well attended. As you can see in the picture, Tim and Director Sweeney showed kids why it's important to have extracurricular interests as well, so they can show off at these events.
We did mop the floor with those.
Yes, we did.
Come up and.
No, you guys. Destroy. Oh, yeah. So anyway, so we had, you want to do this? Sure. So we had the event, and it was really well attended. Food for everyone, and we had a little survey at the end that parents filled out about how they want to improve the district. The parents really liked it. They felt like it's not common for them to have the opportunity to have their voices heard. It's a lot of cultures like you are educators, you know what's going on, you know what's best. We'll just sit back, and for them to be allowed to have input is a big deal for them. So they appreciated that. So we, like I said, we're going to continue doing it. We used to do it at the end of the year. Now I think we'll do it at the beginning and at the end. Do both ends. And so for you people that have heard us speak before, you might already know the process, but how we identify students for EL services. But those of you who don't know, Tim will share.
Yeah.
How we do it.
So what this presentation is, this is what we shared with families on that family night. And it's also just good information we wanted to share with the board as well. So here's what we shared with them. We started with a little game to get, kind of an icebreaker to get everybody involved and feeling comfortable. So we're going to do that with this board meeting. It's going to give the audience a little more participation. Game's called That's Me. All you need to do is raise your hand if the statement is true for you. All right, so first question, I speak more than one language, or I'm learning a second language. So if that's true for you, so raise your hand. All right. Next question, I lived in another country before moving to the United States. Okay. And the last question, we speak more than one language in our home. All right, now as you can imagine, at our family night, the response was a little bit different. For most of these questions, we had almost every single hand up in the room. And I think that was powerful for families who can feel isolated sometimes, to look around and say, okay, we're all the families in this room are having that same experience. So that was the purpose of that first activity. Then we got into the nitty-gritty, just to kind of share information with families. First thing we wanted to share with families on board as well tonight is how do we identify students for our English learner program. So it all starts when a new student registers with our district. They fill out a home language survey that asks a few questions about
language use in the child's life and with their family. And, you know, if anything comes up where there's an influence of another language, Mr. Padilla or myself take a look at those and we contact the family and we kind of investigate to see if they would be a student who needs to take a language screener. That's called the ELPA screener. So once the student takes the ELPA screener, Jorge and I look at the results and we work with parents to see if based on the results, to see if participation in our English learner program is the right fit for them. We do have EL programs at the following schools at the elementary level. We have a program at Redwood. And then secondary level, we have an English learner program at South and Grants Pass High School. As students progress through the program, they can exit the EL program by scoring proficient on the ELPA 21 proficiency assessment. That happens once per year. It's actually, I think we just today, the test window open. February 10th. So we're going to be beginning that testing over the next few months. We'll hopefully get some kids that exit out of our program. If a student does exit, Jorge and I monitor that student's progress in their regular ed classes for 5 years, just to make sure that they're doing a satisfactory job in their other courses.
So, like I said, I have a great job, and I only because I am supported by these wonderful ladies, the magnificent Melissa Andrews and the marvelous Marisol Espinosa, who's over there by the door. I am blessed because I can be at one school, and I know without a doubt that the students are being taken care of. I create lesson plans for my assistants, and we implement it, and the kids really enjoy coming to EL. When they exit out, some kids feel like they don't want to exit out because it's a safe place for language, just for friends, whatever, just that they're understood. And the teachers are great that, you know, we have an agreement with the teachers that if the kids ask and they're all caught up with their work, they're welcome to come back and hang out with us and model the good English, and also to motivate the other kids to do well and pass the state test, EL test. And so, you know, what does it look like? It's Monday through Friday. It's for 30 minutes. Whether it's myself or my assistants, there's two things we're really our goals. One, it's a federal goal of helping the students improve their English reading, writing, listening, and speaking, those 4 modes of communication. And the other thing is to help them have an appreciation for their culture. Being in Oregon, it's, you know, there's not a lot, but especially Grants Pass, not as much diversity. And so they have an opportunity to celebrate this. And we had a poster we did where many of our students are from Mexico. As a matter of fact, we have a kid coming from Mexico starting tomorrow at Lincoln. So we have also kids from China. We have kids from all over the world, Pakistan. We've had kids from India. So we have a multi-ethnic makeup in our school district K-12. And we want them to appreciate the fact that, yes, they're learning the English language, but also to appreciate, you know, their home language as well. And so, yeah, and so, like I said, they're 30 minutes each. For students, like we have newcomers or students that need that additional help, we might give them more than 30 minutes. We would like to give a lot of attention to our kindergartners and give them that extra attention. So that way, by the time they get to 5th grade, they can probably exit out from the program and they're proficient in English. We are also there to support the families as they navigate the school system and explain. I want to share this with you real quick. This funniest thing during conferences. A lot of the Spanish speaking countries, their report card goes from 1 to 10. So they're sitting across from us and we're showing them the report cards and they're like, their kid has a 2. And we're all excited. They're progressing. They're like, are they gonna have to repeat 2nd grade? And I was like, no, that's a good thing. So anyways, just those little things like that, having to explain to parents that, you know, this is the American system and how it works and everything. They really appreciate us translating documents into Spanish for them. The technology that we have now that translates from parent square into Spanish for them, they appreciate. And when they're there to interpret, to speak, you know, to communicate with the families. Provide support for the teachers. For example, like I said, the teachers that have a kid right from Mexico, what do? Well, we support them and we pull them out and we help them and provide support. So it's very easy. Yep. And We also have some other things that we do. We do have been able, now that COVID's is not as bad. We have been able to do some after school programs that we used to do back when before COVID. We have an after school, we call it math train. We're helping the kids with improve their math skills from grades 3 through 5. And then we just started after school tutoring where our kinder, first and second grade students are being tutored by our third, fourth, and fifth grade students, and they love it. They really, the older kids love it, the little kids love working with big kids. And then we're gonna do some science prep, get ready for Oaks. So there's a lot of after school activities and ways for the kids to get involved, so. Any questions as far as for the elementary program?
Do we know, I do have a few
Sure,
questions.
sure.
And you may not know the answer to this, but do we know how many kids were missing in the community that aren't coming to school because of a language barrier? Is that something that we are able to track, or what do we do to promote these types of programs and invite them into the schools?
Yeah, I want to say with the network that we have, with the families, they seek us out because the families want their kids in school. And I understand that there are some migratory families and things that have, because of, they're going out in the orchards and things. I haven't seen that much here. Honestly, our directors can definitely talk to that. But I think we do a pretty good job of not only working with those kids and getting them in the program, but during COVID, you kept hearing about California was losing kids, and we made a very proactive attempt to first help the families learn about the technology and how to use it. And then also to make sure the parents were getting kids on it, at least, elementary school. So, yeah, but
I think that because of the networking and our Spanish family liaisons, they're very strong connections in the community. And so they see any questions they have, not even about school necessarily, they have strong relationships with those liaisons. And so they're always connecting and calling, and then our liaisons do a great job of getting them connected into school.
and we have a good relationship with the other outlying with Three Rivers. We have a lot of, and Medford as well. So we have the kids coming back and forth and things, and we are able to communicate and make sure that everyone's on the same page.
Well, that was my next question. How are we working with the county schools as well, and even Medford? So.
Yeah, the state has its system as well, but once we let each other know, hey, I have this new kid, they're from your school district, and then send me the information. That happens every year, so it's a good relationship. Yeah, great question.
Kind of going off of, I'll start with what we do at the secondary level. I have amazing family liaisons, and kind of like Director Paul was referring to, they grew up in this community of Grass Pass, and they're just embedded in networks there. So they, when we do get new kids or there's a question, they're a great bridge between the schools and those families. So, and like Jorge, I know I couldn't do my job without these three up here. They're not here tonight, but Jennifer, Christian, and Leslie, they definitely they do so much work at the secondary schools. So I'm very appreciative of their help. So I'll briefly just share about some things we do at the secondary level. Similar goals to Jorge. Main goal is to help my students gain academic English proficiency and be successful in their classes. So it can be a pretty big challenge when at a high school level, when we have a newcomer student from another country, middle to no English, plopped into a biology class, or that's a big challenge for us, but we're pretty good team that helps those kids be successful, and amazing teachers at the high school that help with that as well. And like Mr. Padilla, we want to make our school an inclusive space and help our child maintain a positive identity around their heritage. One thing we've done itself this year is, it's a small thing, but I think it really helps a lot of our newcomer kids, is we've started doing morning announcements both in English and Spanish over the intercom. That helps our newcomer kids who before during announcements, they would just kind of sit there and not really know what's happening, and I would have to rehash it out with them afterward. They get their information just like every other student in the school. We're just trying to be more inclusive of everybody. It's a little bit different at the middle and high school levels compared to elementary. My students actually have an English language development class that they attend as part of their regular schedule. At both schools, it's broken down into 2 levels. So level 1 is foundational English language skills. That is essentially a basic English class for students that are new to the language. So students that have been in the United States for less than a year or brand new or less than 2 years, those students are part of that class. So in that class, we work on basic communication, reading, writing, and they get a lot of content area support as well. And then we have level 2, that's my intermediate or advanced English language class. And that's for students who have been in the US a little bit longer or were born here but come from a family that speaks a second language and they've never exited out of the EL program. So in that class, we work on academic language skills that the goal is that they transfer to help support them in their other classes as well. And the EL assistants, family liaisons do an amazing job of supporting our newcomer students in their classes. They help translate when needed. They interpret between students and teachers as needed. So they do an awesome job. They also, anytime a Spanish speaking parent calls the school district, they have a school district phone. It goes right to their phone and they are right on it. They answer and help any Spanish speakers that call the school right away. And they also help interpret for meetings. At our family night, we just also had shared some upcoming events that have now already happened, but our goal was to just pull more families into these events. So parent-teacher conferences, tied meetings, we give reminders to families about those events. And at the end, we played a Kahoot game, which I think was very well received by the families. They had a really good time. It was basically asking information that we had presented on the previous slides. And we had, I think, 10 prizes to students and parents that participated. So, yep, went over very well. And we also gave parents an opportunity to participate in that Grants Pass School District family survey, I think it was. So we had that available in English and Spanish. Trying to reach families that, we typically wouldn't get that feedback from. We give them the opportunity right there just to get that feedback from them. And that was what we shared with families. Any other questions from the board or the audience? Yes.
Well, so at one point we had at least a dozen different languages represented. So if you don't speak Mandarin Chinese, how do you help that EL student?
It's definitely a challenge. We start with, if we need to use technology to assist, we do that. Google Translate has come a long way. We don't want to rely on it as like the always go-to, but that's, if it's important information that we need to communicate, we start there. And then we really start just from the ground up. We start with basic survival English and move on to just everyday needs, school supplies, classes, and we work on building that with students. So in the beginning, like especially at the high school level, it can be a pretty big challenge. But we've had, in the last few years, we've had a Mandarin speaker, Thai speaker. We had some others that are slipping my mind right now, but it's a big challenge. And we do our best, and we've been able to successfully have our newcomer students. We've found resources in their native language that have helped with, for example, with a science class or a social studies class. So, and other times we have to create it, and that has worked out pretty well too. Thank you. Yeah.
So can you explain, so we have a freshman that shows up tomorrow at Grants Pass from Mexico, doesn't speak any English. What does their class schedule look like?
So
are they thrown into a biology class as well as your English classes, or what do they do?
It always depends, like student by student could be a little different, but I'd say in normal circumstances, we would create a schedule for that student. And the schedule would be created in a way where we know we can provide in-class support for that student. The main way we do that is have one of our EL assistants in the class with that student to help. A lot, especially with Spanish, there's a lot of resources out there, or even many of our curriculums that we use have everything available in English and Spanish. So even if everyone's getting a article or a worksheet in English, it's already prepared and ready for the student in Spanish too.
So that's helpful. And we have a lot of really strong Spanish speaking students that we'll look at those student schedules, and when we can, we'll pair those new students with bilingual students that can provide support as well.
Thank you. Obrigado. And gracias.
Okay, any question anymore? All right, thank you very much. Next reporter, PE courses at Grants Pass. Nope.
No.
So you're right. Annual ELS report. Still alive.
I'll do, I'm trying to talk of each year, this Oregon Department of Education creates a English language state report. And we are required by law to present that to the school board and to also have it on our website. Two interesting things about that report. One, it has no information about any individual district. So there's no information about Grants Pass School District in that report. And the report is always 2 years old, always. So you did get the link to that report, and that report is on our website. In addition, though, you also have a report here that has some Grants Pass information, because I made an assumption that you might find that a little bit more interesting than the generic state report. So what you have in front of you is information about Grants Pass School District. It is again 2 years past data, because that's how the reports work. But you can see on there some comparisons between Grants Pass School District and the state, with expenditures, with student counts, recent arrivals, just different things that kind of capture a picture of what our EL program is. You asked some questions about languages. So if you look at the third row where it talks about recent arrivals, so 2 years ago, we had 13 recent arrivals in our school district. But in the next column, you can see the places that they came from: Mexico, Guatemala, United Arab Emirates, Honduras, Chile, India, Pakistan. So though Mexico is the primary country that our students come from, and Spanish is the largest second or home language that they speak, there are lots of other languages and countries that our Grants Pass students are coming from. And I think that sometimes surprises people about the makeup of our kids in Grants Pass. Did you have any questions about the information or data?
Thank you.
Thank you, Susan. PE courses at Grants Pass High School.
Hello, everybody. I'll wait for folks to get in and sit. So normally I would have Jeff Houston, who is our head of our PE department here, but he is coaching basketball over at North Bedford this evening. So I am who you get. So our PE department really wanted to self-reflect on all of the classes that we offer and look at the journey that kids go through in PE, and is it really does it accomplish what we want kids to experience and take away from Grants Pass High School? So currently what happens is all freshmen come in and they take what's called Intro to PE. And it gives them kind of a snapshot at a variety of activities, most of which they've experienced in middle school. So for some kids who are really active, it feels a little bit like a repeat for them. But every freshman has to take Intro to PE. And then from that, they're able to then choose some other courses along the way, whatever fits their best interest. What the PE department has found recently is that Intro to PE is kind of a repeat of what they're getting in 6th, 7th, and 8th grade. The biggest thing that they've noticed, especially recently, is Intro to PE will put 50, maybe sometimes 60 9th graders in the same facility at the same time, And it has created a little bit of chaos and they learn bad habits potentially from each other, and it's just not creating a conducive environment for learning. I think, you know, any kid will tell you if they're involved in a class that has upperclassmen in it, those ninth graders will behave differently. I know that I taught a 9 through 12 class and the freshmen didn't act like freshmen, as we say, because they were looking up to the older kids and the older kids were modeling the behavior that we want to see at Grants Pass High School. So the PE department did some reorganization. And so the chart that you see on the screen is their reorganization of the classes that we offer. These are all things that we currently do. There's a few name changes up there, but in reality, these are all classes that kids have access to, but we're just changing the progress of how they can do this. So when kids come to Grants Pass High School, they will start with a level 1 course. They can do this as a freshman if they want to. They could wait and do it as a sophomore. They could even wait and do it as a junior if they wanted to, but they'll start with a level 1 course. So that could be recreational activities. That would be less competitive, but activities that you could do out in the community. So softball, pickleball, tennis, it's things that families could do together, those type of activities. Weight training is your traditional be in the weight room component. Lifetime fitness is going to be a class that maybe a kid doesn't really enjoy traditional sports. They don't like things flying at their face and trying to catch balls and do whatever they're doing, but they want something that's more low-key. Think more like gym membership, so yoga, Pilates, maybe step aerobics, maybe kickboxing, maybe going on walks. Maybe they do enjoy running just for leisure. So those type of activities. And then competitive sports would be the class like, I really enjoy competition. I really like to win. I want to compete with my friends. And so that type of class would be organized for kids like that. So they have 4 choices. They can pick whichever one they want. They choose that one. That would get them their 0.5 required first part of their PE credit. If they really enjoy that course, they can repeat it again for their second 0.5 credit that they need for graduation for PE. Or maybe they want to try a different course at level 1, or maybe they want to jump to level 2. So once they've passed the level 1 course and the teacher has recommended them to move on, as we do with all of our courses, they could jump to level 2 and do either advanced athletic conditioning is our girls advanced course, and advanced strength training is the boys advanced course. Basketball is for kids who just really love to play basketball and want that competition. And then personal training is focused on kids who may want to think about personal training as a potential career. So it involves fitness, but it also involves learning about nutrition, designing workout programs, those types of activities. So again, these are all of the courses that we currently offer, but now kids can really pick what interests them. And I think that's what the PE department really wanted to focus on, was kids were losing the excitement for being active. And so how do we increase that excitement? It's giving them stuff that they're interested in. So they get to pick what their interest is. If they really enjoy being in the weight room, then they can start with a weight training class as a freshman, and they could take it every semester, all 4 years if they wanted to, because that's their passion. So it's working on finding things that interest them. It's providing opportunities for them to be able to take stuff and share with their families. So if their families like to get out and about, maybe it's recreational activities, and now I have all these new activities that I can share with my family that we can go do. Or maybe it's Lifetime Fitness, and it's like, hey, Mom, Dad, can we get a gym membership and we can go do all these fun things that happen at the Y or Club Northwest or wherever it is that they want to go. They want to be able to expand what the kids have learned in middle school right off the get-go. So instead of repeating what they already know, let's take it to another level. And so this is our restructure of PE. The planned course statements are all in your guys's board packet. And again, they're just updated on the new form. It's all stuff that we currently do with a few name changes. I know we added advanced to the work to the course athletic conditioning to indicate that that was a higher level fitness course, so that kids were aware of that. But I think this is fantastic as a former health PE teacher, to be able to give kids so many more options and not pigeonhole them into one class that they have to take. Now they get to choose and enjoy fitness, which is what we want them to walk out of here with. So any questions that I can answer?
Okay, so level 1 competitive sports, so
Mhm.
you're on the swim team. Does that, how does that?
So
What do you
competitive
do?
sports, they'll do things like badminton, basketball. We could even do, we can lower our badminton nets and do pickleball. So it might be a lot of the same sports that you would see in recreational activities, but it's gonna be the kids that want to be competitive. They want a higher, Jeff always said, it's kind of like a higher intensity version of the game than you might see. So they might play basketball in both, but in recreational activities, it might be more, hey, let's just shoot around, or let's play horse or something like that, where in competitive sports, they're actually going to do maybe 3-on-3 basketball or 5-on-5 and have a full-fledged game. So competitive sports is going to be for that kid that's more intense about competition and wants that challenge, whereas recreational activities is, hey, I just enjoy being active, so I want to do these different sports.
And so you mentioned advanced athletic was for girls and advanced strength was for boys. Are all the others co-ed or?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. Any other questions?
Thank you very much.
Awesome, thank you.
Exciting things in PE. world.
I said P.
4.5, 21-22 audit, Director Sparks. Can you get there? Oh, right.
Is KDP on Zoom?
Katie, what?
KDP,
Andrew?
Andrew? I'm only gonna be up here for a couple of minutes, but this is kind of fun. We just completed our, the audit, our annual financial audit for the 21-22 school year. And we did have a, in your packet, you'll see that corrective action plan that I'll need you to review and then sign off on. KDP, Andrew with KDP, who is the auditors that did our audit, are going to give you a quick overview of it.
I'm sorry to interrupt.
you know-
Aria is on, so should we?
Oh, Aria, excuse me, Aria with KDP. Andrew's probably not able to do it. Basically, the corrective action plan is similar to the one that was received a year prior, and it just involves a little tighter internal controls and more frequent, just more frequent reconciling of our accounts. And so we're putting in this action plan and to actually have to be able to do those a little bit more frequently, not a little bit, but more frequently and more on a regular schedule basis, so that it's that's that. And so maybe I'll have Aria on here.
I balance my checkbook once a month. How often do you have to balance your accounts?
We reconcile them monthly, but there's other like transfers and other like spot checks to do within our system that should happen more frequently.
We've asked her to start her camera, but she's not responding. Do you have her phone number?
Can you hear me? Because I can't start my camera.
What can I say? I have.
Hi, Aria, we can hear you though.
Hi, okay. When I try to start my camera, it says the host has stopped it.
Oh, me?
We didn't mean to.
Okay, that's okay.
We're checking on that.
Audio.
I mean, I can get started.
Yeah.
You don't need to see my face. I'm fine with it. Oh,
There you-
Oh, there
there
you
you
go. We see you.
all right, well, okay, thank you. So like Nefeli said, I am Arya Bettinger. I'm an audit partner with KDP Certified Public Accountants, and we were engaged to audit the financial statements for Grants Pass School District for the year ended June 30th, 2022. So as you probably know, management of the district with oversight from the board is responsible for the preparation and fair presentation of the financial statements in accordance with accounting principles generally accepted in the United States of America. And our responsibility as your auditors is to plan and perform our audit to obtain reasonable assurance about whether the financial statements are free of material misstatement. Andrew Sherwood, who was mentioned earlier, he was a senior manager, and he is going to provide the results of our audit. And so he's going to present to you guys. And then if you have any questions, feel free to let us know. So maybe you can unmute him.
Who's on, Arya?
Where's the compliance?
Andrew?
Andrew.
Is this it?
You see him on there yet?
No, Andrew. Well, I was looking through all of these, but it didn't list.
I think I've been unmuted, but my video is still not presenting. Let me try. Here we go. Thank you, Superintendent Sweetie and the Board of Education. Thank you for allowing us to speak to you tonight. We're just here to present the audit results of our June 30, 2022 audit. I believe you've all been handed the annual financial statements that include 4 audit opinions. I'm going to kind of go over this at a high level. So if anyone has any questions, please feel free to speak up and ask. Our first opinion that's in the report is called a prime opinion. This is one of the most significant opinions, and you'll commonly hear to someone saying that they had a clean or unmodified opinion. And that is what you guys have. There are no material misstatements, no items that we noted as being off in the financials, and we believe the financial statements are presented fairly in all material respects. We conducted the audit in accordance with auditing standards generally accepted in the United States of America and standards applicable to financial audits contained in government auditing standards. The second opinion that we issued is the Oregon State Regulations opinion. This covers a lot of the compliance requirements around budgeting. And with that, we did not identify any substantial non-compliance, but we did identify one compliance matter that's included in note 1 of the financial statements. This compliance matter relates to expenditures that exceeded appropriations from the final budget. And so these are in note 1. And if you look at the annual financial statements, it's marked page number 16. The third opinion letter that we issued is the independent auditor's report on internal control over financial reporting and compliance with other matters. And this is referred to as the GAS, or Government Auditing Standards opinion. And this relates to compliance with laws and regulations. Within this opinion, we have noted one significant deficiency that was identified. Nefeli mentioned that there was a corrective action plan, and that's associated with this finding. Within the finding, it's basically an identification that cash, accounts receivable, and related revenue and expense and liabilities were not timely reconciled to ensure we had correct ending balances once we began the audit. And so once that corrective action plan gets signed, we can move forward with that. Our last opinion letter that was issued is over uniform guidance. And this is in association with the single audit for the federal grants that are audited. We had no compliance findings associated with the single audits. And for the fiscal year 22 single audits performed, these were over the Title I grants and the Education Stabilization Fund, or ESSER grants. So we had two major programs that were audited there. The school district did qualify as a low-risk auditee, which is a very positive thing. It means you didn't have any material weaknesses or significant deficiencies associated with the compliance audit, and you complied with other requirements like external reporting. That's basically the results of the audit. Are there any questions?
So I got 8 pages in my board packet and all the stuff he just talked about. I don't think I got to see.
So I believe when the email went out, so it's a pretty large document. I can get you a printed copy of that. We posted it on our website, the final one as well. But I can get you the entire, I can get it printed.
There was references to note 1 and I never could figure out where note 1 was. So,
This is in your annual financial statements that's over 100 pages. Do you have a big printout similar to that? That's like a book?
We don't have, I don't think we have any of them printed out, but we can.
Okay.
We have links. Yeah, it's links directly on our website. I think they were sent out in the board.
Are the deficiencies that were identified the same as were identified last year?
Yes.
So do we know why those weren't corrected? I mean, was it just because we did not have it says the district is hired by financial director, but did that not happen last year? Or what was our delay in correcting the problem from last year?
It appears overall that the internal control framework didn't come into play to basically correct the timing of the reconciliations and review before the audit started. I know that there was a change in the director, and I believe some of the shifting in roles kind of caused just a delay in understanding. But we've been in discussion with management and seems pretty positive for the coming year, but that's basically why it seems that the corrective action plan in the prior year wasn't effective for the current year. But management did cooperate with all the audit requests, and we didn't have any issue with Nepheli or Sam. It was a pretty smooth process.
So this audit is for last fiscal year ended June 30th. So
Yes.
I don't know that Nepheli would have an answer as to why 2 years in a row the same mistakes were made.
Must have been the last board chair.
What's that?
Said it was the last board chair who failed in his. Thankfully, we've corrected that though, so we're moving forward in a strong direction.
Next.
So it did look like we had a discussion, I don't know, a meeting or 2 ago about the like $1 million we have in student account stuff that that we properly audit that and stuff. Is this stuff related to that? This corrective?
On the student accounts,
Yes.
no, this is not relating to the student accounts, the Fund 280.
Okay.
So Nepheli, could you just answer what are the enhanced internal controls that we'll be putting in place over this next fiscal year to make sure that we've corrected this moving forward?
It's a very good question, but what we did is at this point right now is we just put a calendar notation to go through and check and do some spot checking on certain things, and then also do like full reviews on the ones that we know from this audit, what had to get done in order to move to do journal entries and get things balanced. So with that, we also have another meeting with them to kind of go over just some of their input and suggestions on how to, implement a good internal control, some good internal controls. Additional.
I also wanted, can I add one thing?
Yeah.
I just wanted to let the board know that there's also another document called the Communication to Those Charged with Governance, which we'll be providing to Nepheli and Sam, and they can pass on to you. And it has some additional information for the board that informs some of our, what some of our processes are, and the financial statements related to, significant estimates, significant disclosures, some of the some, just, it goes into a little bit more detail, and just wanted you to be aware that that will also be coming to you. Also, I wanted to thank you for letting us present over Zoom. We really do appreciate that option.
So I did have a question that's probably unanswerable, but we'll go for it anyway, which is, we have an accounting system here at District 7. Does that help or hinder during the audit process?
Well, an accounting system is essential. I mean, I think that is, this would be, especially a district of your size, this would be nearly impossible without a system. That being said, the system currently being used is not very supported. I think the district is, management is well aware that that it's time to kind of shift gears, but that's quite a process. So yes, an accounting system is great, and I think there's a limitation to the current existing system.
The green screen? No, what? The AS400?
Yeah, yeah.
I'm stunned.
I know she did.
It was very politically correct.
Yes.
Are we looking, what are we doing to look at the accounting system that we're using and upgrading that? Is that something that we need to consider for the next year's budget, or what does that look like, and how can the board be supported?
We have been shopping. We have met with administrators and folks that are part of the accounting department as well, and as also with the technology department. And so, and HR, and we have, I think, landed on a product that we are feeling comfortable with. It will not be inexpensive. It will be
About 217.
yeah, about $217,000. It is the Tyler system is the one that we are leaning towards at this point. We've looked at a couple others that we found were wanting, but we are planning on making a purchase for next school year. It's going to be labor intensive for those that have to learn the system. I will tell you that I am not one of those that has to learn the system. A smile on my face. But once they learn it, it will be a huge step forward for the district. It will be a big improvement for everyone. And we've tried to a couple of different, I believe Sherry tried a product a couple of years ago, and that was e-finance, and it did not work well. And so we're actually in conversations with how to get some money back from them. So
I guess back to the auditors, I mean, you audit many different school districts, so you see a lot of different systems.
Yeah, so Tyler Technologies, is that the Infinite Visions product? Is that what you're
Yes,
referring to?
yes.
Yeah, that's sort of the that's very standard. A lot of school districts do use that product, and there's a lot of support within the state for that, and also just within support among other districts, because it's very common.
Are there others?
There are others. That is the most common one that we work with. But we'd be happy to, it sounds like there has been research done, but we'd be happy to talk to you guys about other ones that other districts use if you want.
about 70% of the districts in the state of Oregon use the Tyler product. So
Yeah.
They're also, I mean, the Tyler Technologies they also do a lot of the state reporting. So a lot of the reports that we have to do manually, they help gather that information for that. From an audit perspective, and I'm not sure how it's worked for you guys in the past, but from what Tyler Technologies has explained is that they're able to provide access to auditors directly into our system, limited access, obviously, but enough to where it takes away a lot of the manual work that our office has to do with our current system too. Integrates HR and payroll, and we currently do all of that by hand.
Would there be a cost savings long term if we were to upgrade the system? I mean, as we look at the expenditures over time, would we be able to save some money by getting the system, do you think?
Currently, our system, our AS400 is homegrown, so we don't pay for that system at all. What we do pay for is support, like programming support, which we have to contact them or him. It's one person, so there's a huge risk with the way that we're currently doing it. That person has retired already. I think, I'm not sure when he retired, but I think it's
20 years ago.
yeah, he's kind of doing it out of the kindness of his heart. But he does charge, and he has to be in our system quite frequently to help us, and frequently meaning he probably gets a call every day or an email every day. So
We're gonna be able to hang on until next year.
the goal is to actually get into contract this year and start the implementation process, so that will be up and ready next year.
This is something we have to do. Yeah. We run a huge risk of this person not being able to support us.
And I just want to mention one more thing we did talk about. So the implementation cost is about 217,000, but the annual recurring cost is about 110.
Okay, thank you, Natalie. 4.6, graduation personalized learning.
Thank you, Aria.
Thank you very much.
Yeah,
guys.
thank you,
Sorry.
Aria.
Thank you.
Thank you.
She doesn't want to stay for the rest of the meeting.
My apologies, maybe she does.
Do you want to stay for the rest of the
We're here tonight to give you an update on graduation requirements. A couple of things I want you to know. First off, graduation data will be coming out this month, January 26th. That will be public information, and at our next board meeting, we'll give you a presentation. We'll send out the data ahead of time so you know what we know about our graduation rates. We feel pretty good about where we ended for the class of 2022. The other thing I would let you know is the state of Oregon in the month of, I think it was like October or November, published a report that the state legislators had put together about graduation requirements. The legislators had asked ODE to do kind of a cross comparison across the nation about what Oregon's diploma requirements are, make some recommendations coming out of that. That report is available on Oregon Department of Ed's website. What I'm told by the Oregon Department of Ed is that with the new governor, she will take a look at that report and take action. And so what I'm presenting to you tonight might change over time, over the next couple of years. We're just trying to keep ahead of the game for our students. A lot of people think about graduation requirements as just the credits. So you see 3 buckets up there. The first one is the credit areas. There are a number of different diploma types that students can earn. The 2 that count are the standard diploma and the modified diploma. If students earn those, they count as graduates. The credit count is only one piece of it, though. There are 2 other components to graduation requirements that students are required to meet, and we have to find ways and systems to monitor those. The second one is called essential skills. That is not applicable during COVID. The state suspended that. So for the class of 23 and the class of 24, students are not required to meet those 2 requirements. We are expecting direction from Oregon Department of Ed this spring for the class of 22. No, that was last year. 25 and 26. Woo. So we should know a little bit more about the essential skill requirement coming back into play, but it doesn't apply to this year's juniors and seniors. The last piece and the little, I would say, lesser known component to graduation requirements is called personalized learning. There are 3 components to personalized learning. One is the educational plan and profile. The second is career-related learning experiences, and the last is extended application. For years, we've been working, high school administration, Shauna and I, on ways to better personalize students' high school experience. How do we best meet their need? Presented to you in Office, a new tool called Naviance. Shauna will help you with the pronunciation. And we are to a point with our implementation that we're ready to say, this will be our tool for personalized learning graduation requirements for the class of 24, not this year's seniors. We're not throwing them a curveball, but for the class of 24, they will have to do some things in Naviance. I don't know. Anyways, in Naviance that will help their post-secondary planning. The first one is educational plan and profile, and Shauna's going to show you the components in the product. We have a couple of students who are going to share with you a little bit about how they've used it so far. But just a snapshot, educational plan and profile is that planning of what you're doing through high school, your interests, what you're passionate about, matching classes to that, and finding avenues at Grants Pass High School or Gladiola or GP Flex that best meet your individual plan. Career-related learning experiences. We are super thrilled to have our Career Academy class. We do job shadows in Career Academy. That meets a career-related learning experience. We give students lots of other opportunities on the Curlies. They will complete a task in the product that lets them reflect on their experience. And then our most exciting thing, the extended application, is really the thing that we have wanted to beef up over the years. Right now, students write a career narrative in their econ class. Not super meaningful and not super helpful in terms of post-secondary planning. In the extended application, in the product, they will do their resume and all kinds of post-secondary planning using the tool. It will include Common App. That's not this spring, that's next spring. Common App and some other features that Shauna's going to show to you. So we're going to go to the PowerPoint if Erin wants to flip to that, and then Shauna's going to lead you through how that personalized learning requirement of the graduation set applies. I think it does work.
That screen's, this slide's a little blurry, so. Good.
Yeah, I thought it was me.
All right, so main point of what we're talking about is how Naviance, and I've said Naviance for a while, but the lady from Texas, which they've got an accent, like think of navigate, so that's why it starts off as nav. And so they just said Naviance or Naviance. So just start it with nav, like navigate, and we'll be good. Okay,
so it now.
Call it nav, which are, yeah. This is a screenshot of what the student will see when they log in. Up at the top in the red box, I've noted the 6 different tabs they have that they'll navigate through. My favorite that we've used the most is the self-discovery piece. There's 8 different, for lack of a better term, assessments that they will take between 6th and 12th grade. They can take all but one of them multiple times. The Strength Explorer, they can only take once from 6th to 12th grade. All the other ones they can take multiple times. We are using this as a tool in multiple ways. The learning and productivity assessment is what they took to introduce Naviance this year in study hall. Then right before career day, we had them do a career interest profiler to see what interests what careers they're most interested in before going to the career day. From that, each assessment gives you results afterwards. The one on the left is what they see after the learning and productivity. Our students are going to talk about this a little bit, so I'm not going to talk too much, but it gives you not just the results, but also recommendations on what to do based on your results. Career key, that's one that shows you Holland traits that are your strengths. And then from those Holland traits, social is the highest for me when I pick this assessment. I think I can click on view careers that are good for those that are social. And then from there, you can favorite different careers in that area, research them further, see what kind of education is needed, and take it to a whole nother level of exploration besides just being on the paper that these are my Holland codes. So from there, the 4-year planner is the first thing that we used Naviance for, and that we took to the 8th graders last spring and had them pick out, forecast what classes they wanted to take in their 9th grade year. And from that, just 1 year, you can build upon it every year to where they can see that they need 24 credits by the time they graduate in different areas. And it shows them when they've selected things. But a nice tool about it as well is that once they've taken a class, it will replace what you thought you would take with what you actually took and if you passed it or not. So it's both a pro and retroactive tool for the students. So and then from this mapping that the students do, that's how it easily talks to Power School, to where our counselors still will. He knows exactly what our needs are for scheduling for that next year for all of our teachers and what students are interested in. It's easy to read. The print on this isn't just a print screen. It's an actual form that explains things a lot further, that makes a whole lot more sense to where if a student brought it home to their parents, they'd be like, oh, okay, this makes sense. And the student can see further in this part. So 4-year planner. Here's what it would look like when they start exploring careers. This is just the beginning of the alphabet. I've decided I want to become an acupuncturist. It's my favorite one of these 4. No, I don't know, not really, but this is just a screen that you can see of the basics. Click on it, it'll give you more details for them to further explore different careers. And like I said, based on a lot of those self-discovery tests, it'll show them, it'll narrow things down for them to look into a little bit more. We talked about career-related learning experiences down the road next year, starting to be documented in Naviance. Now, the experience themselves, they're still going to do that hands-on somewhere else, whether it's another job shadow, visiting a college, something to do with a work experience that they're doing. They'll still experience it. This is just how they will reflect on it, and it'll be reported just through a survey that will be assigned to each student in Naviance. Here is the college search section, and our students are going to talk about this a lot more as well, because I know that they've used it. You can do a super match college search that lets you see things from, okay, can you guys actually see this? I'm not that old, but I'm coming up here a little closer. What it shows, you can, when you're doing the super match college search, it lets you pick location, a big city, small city, what kind of academics they require to get in and the admission process, student life, do they have a Greek system or not, the diversity of the school, and other different like intramural programs or other characteristics of it, what it'll cost, and even athletics. So you can search all those different things to find nationwide, actually worldwide, different colleges that might be a good fit for you, which is great when you're here and you may only know Oregon, Oregon State, maybe Southern Oregon University and RCC. So great opportunity for them. With the scholarship and money search, these students have already been using this tool a lot to not only see local scholarships that we input and learn more about, but also nationwide searches based on their GPA or other criteria. They can customize it all and have been with that.
Shauna, the definition of college.
Definition of college, 4 years or more. No, just kidding. That is absolutely what we are getting away from. That's what people think of. But what we are defining as college is any kind of further certification or training that is needed post high school. So that
And so the product has 2-year trade schools. It's not just your 4-year big university systems. It has those opportunities as well.
And more than just like a 2-year certificate, they do narrow it. They do have it down to a certificate program that could be 6 weeks long. So it has a wide variety, and so it defines it the same way as how we like to define it. So that is great. This is the About Me section of it, where they will be using the resume building tool is the main one. Goals, they can also use goals. They will have goals assigned to them every year. My goal that I created was to beat Ben Coulter at every competition that I ever have against him.
Yeah, I don't.
He beat me when we went to RCC at the shooting one. That's why it became my goal, was after that. I'm not competitive. I would not be one of the students in the freshman competitive PE instead of the regular. Anyway, the resume building tool is great feature in this one, I don't even know if our students have used it too much because I haven't really introduced it to them much yet. But basically it combines both an activities tracker where they put all of the different things that they've done and they can start entering that in 6th grade if they would like, every year, just put them in. And then from that whole activity list, they can build their actual resume. So in this example, on the left-hand column, this is when they would hit the pink button to then pick one of these objective or education or different experiences that they might have had. And that goes on that activity chart, which then you can create multiple different resumes and save them on here. And that's when the box would get checked that they've created a resume is when that happens. And then that's a sample, and they have 3 different options naturally built in, and they're actually good templates overall to follow. So yeah, and it just formats it perfectly. And going through a lot of seniors' resumes right now, the formatting, I'm like, what happened to all your formatting? We gave you a template. This doesn't give them the option to screw up the formatting. So that's kind of nice. And so every grade through our scope and sequence, do you want to talk about this one at all?
Just that we have a scope and sequence, and our goal is that starting in 6th grade, students are going to be exploring their interests, doing specific related tasks, and it will progress through high school and beyond.
And this replaces that narrative that they're only writing their senior year, kind of reflecting on things with actual hands-on things that they are going to be looking at for that 6th to 12th grade timeframe. All right, this is just a graph of the usage this year for 12th grade. So far, there's been over 1.4K different uses. Our 10th grade, who they're using it in Career Academy, that's why they have so many, is because that's only half of our sophomore class, our 10th grade class that's had Career Academy so far, and they're using it a lot. But this is what I really like. This is our numbers are even higher now because it was like last week. They're still using it all the time. 93% of our students have logged in at Grants Pass High School at least once. But 80% have logged in at least twice, 61% have logged in 3 or more times, but the average visits per user, when I looked this morning, it was already up to 4.9 times. So we're right about 5 times per user that they're using it. So we've had so far 3 assignments in study hall for them to use. That was that learning and productivity lesson, the self-discovery piece, as well as the career day prep. And then we had to look at their progress report and set goals. Using Career Academy, when we meet with the seniors one-on-one, we would introduce that to them and then show them how to use the scholarships and college search tools. Been going to the Avid class and going further, they've been my guinea pigs. That's why I brought them here tonight, because they've done an excellent job at that. And then the scheduling, forecasting for next year through the course planner. So from this, we can there's a whole bunch of reports on the back end that we have access to. This is a snippet of a report that tells us what career clusters students are most interested in. I had another one that was the different careers, and that wasn't as useful for me data wise, because there was over 140 different careers and like 7 to 14 kids in each section. But when we divided it by career cluster, we could see that healthcare is the most popular area for our students right now, down to, as you can see, all the way down to building and grounds, cleaning and maintenance stuff. So those are based on national career clusters that those groupings were set up.
Which career is the NBA?
That would be under the arts, design, entertainment, sports, and media. So yes, many that think they are going to be the next Michael Jordan, they check that out.
Florida State.
All right.
Yeah, he's 3rd string JV. He's
This tool also has great communication pieces with parents. You can generate over 12 pages of information that you send to the parent that explains the tool, but then it also shows them these are the favorite careers that your student has chosen. Here are the classes that they've taken so far and the grades that they received in that, and suggested career clusters. Now, this is information from one of our students that's here tonight, because I needed someone that I knew had put data in so that it would generate a report. And so you could see all the different pieces that is communicated over the 12-page report. You can customize it to where you do select things that you wanted to see or not for the parents, but yeah, it even shows them those self-discovery pieces, and great conversation piece starter for kids with their parents. If they have this report, this is something that can be a PDF that we send out, just like we do our report cards through Parent Square.
Which we have not done yet
Nope.
because we haven't had enough data in the system really to advertise it. Our goal is around spring break, when most students have done course planner, we'll be communicating out how parents access, how they talk to their student about what's in the system. We just needed a little bit more data in there for those conversations to happen.
So when Trish asked if I'd come talk about this, I'm like, sure, but can I bring some students? Because I don't know about you, but I would much rather hear from them than someone that has to do this. So they chose to do this. They volunteered. And so if you three want to come on up and talk, you get the stage for the next little bit. And I'll stay up here with you. Right. Show your grades.
I didn't have to do a math ever done.
That's because you speak more to me.
Okay, so right here, this is my slide. I'm Aniko, Aniko. I don't care how you say it, as long as you don't say Oniko. So for me, it's hard to see over here, but okay.
I did too.
Thanks.
And I feel really good right now that she can't.
Again, I'm not blind. So over here, this is just my pathway. So over here, I have the colleges that I've applied for. So you have Lane, Rogue, SOU. They're just the ones that I'm interested in. And I've honestly been using it a lot. I know I have a big, the college thing we used in Avid before, but this is honestly has a lot more availability because I'm looking to study abroad as well when I go and transfer to a 4-year, and being able to look at the opportunities of where I can go around the area of the UK is amazing. And it just shows you what it has, but it won't have, you know, what type of college it'll be. I don't like big techie ones that are huge and in big cities. So I was like, okay, I want a smaller area, and it gave me smaller areas to look for. And then over here is the career one, which I love these tests. They're so fun. I did them all in at least a month in between classes because they're just something fun to fill your time. And I mean, I think the most questions on one of them was like 30, 40 questions, but it wasn't really, you know, time consuming, horrible. It made me feel like in agony that, oh my gosh, I have to do survey. It was like, oh my gosh, I get to do survey. And it taught me a lot, you know. It said I'm good and I need to be better at being logical, and you know, I agree with that. I don't have the critical thinking of, you know, a scientist or a mathematician, but I know I'm very creative. And over here you can see that the first one is arts, so I think that's a big dead giveaway. And the last one is a music therapist, which I mean, that's pretty artistic if I say so myself. But it's taught me a lot of things, you know. It's really fun. It's easy to navigate. I'm gonna be honest, it was a little bit confusing at first just because going to using Power School and, you know, all the things on the Career Center website from that was kind of a hard transition, but Mrs. Bland explained it perfectly. You know, every Wednesday comes in, gives a whole spiel about things, and I highly recommend it because it just really helped out. Look forward to it.
So, hi, I'm Rayla Brace. Personally, I've learned a lot more from being in the boardroom about Naviance. I mean, I've just learned a little snippet about it personally. But the 3 main ways that we've learned about, or I've caught on at least, is scholarships, which is the first photo up there. I know it's super tiny to see, but that is just a picture of what, when I click on scholarships, and what the scholarship search specifically looks like. It's really easy to find. It's in a separate tab underneath. I want to say, no, I have it here. Colleges, so it's underneath colleges, so it's getting you prepared for that. and it's easy to apply. You just click on it, it'll bring you right to the link and the requirements for it. So say that I don't have the requirements for it, I can easily back out of it and then go back to where I was searching for. The second photo there is the self-discovery, which those are 3 out of the however many tests that she said. But we do Wednesdays with Bland, and then you get to know more about yourself and what you're like personally interested in, because sometimes I don't even know, but the tests are super easy. They're just usually a click of the button of this is really defining me to this is not really what I look for or strive for. And if you're not really sure about finding like what you're wanting to do, it really helps you find a career and really navigate into a certain area that you maybe want to look into more. So that third photo right there is different pathways that I can go through. And it gets you thinking more about the future and what you're going to do after schooling. Like some of mine are food products and processing systems to animal systems to early childhood development, and then families and communicative services. Those are just 3 out of my 6 there. And if I truly didn't know what I was going to go into, but I currently have a plan, this would be very helpful, especially if like a few years ago, I didn't really know. So this would have been really helpful then.
I think all of the underclassmen are really lucky to have this system, because I think I would really appreciate it. But Blaine talked about it a little bit. I'm Deanie, by the way. About the Supermatch college cert. I knew for the most part that I wanted to go to college, but again, there's a lot of colleges all over the world, all over the US, and I think a lot of us feel restrained to just staying in Oregon, and so having the Supermatch college cert gives a really good opportunity to find out like colleges on the East Coast or in Canada or in like a different country, or if you like study abroad programs, like it matches you up with those schools that have focused on that. And so, like what Anne was talking about, you answer a couple questions on like what your GPA is, what you're kind of interested in, and like what region of the world you want to be in. And so it matches you with colleges that line up with most of what you want to do, but also it gives you a percentage on how much you match up to that, which I think is really helpful. I think my top one was Pacific University, and it gave me 100%. And knowing that that's actually one of the colleges I applied for, and so knowing that that was a college that like a system like this thought I would best be suited in was really helpful to knowing like, oh, maybe I'm making the right choice on what college I actually want to go to. And so, yeah.
You did, you said navigate.
No.
Blew me away. You guys are great. I didn't even see their slides ahead of time or just said, hey.
I made mine yesterday.
Yeah. Oh. So I just wanted to give, the last slide I have is just that this is kind of how we see Navigance happening now, next year, and eventually adding. We've been using it in study hall, career academy, for scheduling, college certs and scholarships. Those are the main things this year. As they said, there's a lot of things that they even learned tonight, because it would be overwhelming if we threw everything at them now. It would be overwhelming if we sent the information home to parents that it can do, because the kids would be, they wouldn't even know what to say, you know. So it's coming, but we're doing it in phases to really get a good understanding of it. Next year, we're planning to use it for the personalized learning that we talked about, and continue using it in all the other things we're doing now, but also adding that transcript, teacher recommendation, actually applying to colleges. It's there, we just have a button unclicked so that it's not too much at once. And then eventually we can totally make it so that our clusters and pathways that we offer depict what classes they need to take to follow those clusters and pathways that we have available here. So hopefully it'll bring a clearer picture to kind of those groupings that our students can take classes in. It's not something yet that we've done, but it has that capability. Just need to define things. employability skills rubric. We plan on using the rubric that's been developed to have students self-evaluate and then teachers evaluate them on those employability skills that we would like all of our students to know about as they're exiting. And linking that to RCC and the programs that they have, as well as work experience opportunities. And just in the last 2 months, I saw that they added an elementary school piece to this. So that may be something, there's a question mark by that one. How do we take to the elementary school level? We have a fourth grade from Allendale is coming to visit our CTE programs next Tuesday. Because Allendale is kind of cool, right? Yeah. And so there's other career exploration pieces that we can use with that. So anything else, Trish, that you want to add?
We're super excited about the possibilities, trying to take it slow. Do it well and do it right. Thanks for the team.
Thank you very much. I love when we bring students. Okay, 5.0 superintendent report.
All right, I have a few things to discuss with the board tonight. I'll try and keep it quick. First of all, I've had the opportunity to participate in mock interviews today. I had a great time with that. A lot of fun meeting the students and participating. Thank you for the invitation. I met a young man who started the season third string JV football, and he's going to go to Florida State and play football there. I'm like, that's a great call. So we're working, as some of you know, that went to the legislative show last week with OSBA. We're working towards moving the dial on the state school fund. The current biennium, we're financed at $9.25 billion. The recommendation was 9.5. And now we understand from the governor's office that she's going to up that to 9.697. So for every $100 million that they talk about at state school fund, Grants Pass's share is $1 million. So if it goes up 100 million, we get $1 million. That would be about $1 million to our district. So right now, if they're at 9.2 for the current biennium and they're talking 9.7, we're talking about an increase of about $5 million to our general fund. We're working to get that to 10.3 billion, which would be a little over $1 billion increase over the last biennium or the current biennium. I don't know that we'll get to 10.3, but we're going to give it our best effort to do so. Let's see. We continue to see our enrollment holding steady, and a lot of that continues to be with students on IEPs transferring into the district. Our December child count was 824 students.
23.
How much?
823.
Oh, I was way off. 823 students
We'll
on
see the numbers.
students on IEPs. But Vanessa tells me we're substantially higher than that. I mentioned that because one of the conversations currently happening in Salem is school districts get funded at 11% cap on IEPs, students on IEPs. They're talking about moving that cap to 14%, which would only be beneficial to districts if they give more money to school districts to cover that. If they just change the formula from 11% to 14%, Grants Pass would be fine, but if you're a district that's got a 12% student population on IEPs, you're looking at a cut to your funding. So we're saying, yes, we'd love to see a change to the formula as long as money comes with that change. So that's one of the areas we're advocating for as well, as we see more and more students being identified on that. And I think that 800 is 150-ish, 160-ish, 60.
You were
more
at
than-
751 on December 1st last year.
Oh, 751.
And
Okay, so we're,
823.
okay, so it's not 100, it's about 75 more students. Okay.
That puts us at what percent?
I think we're at 14.8. Yeah, we're just under 15% currently. And so,
That number just counts students that have completed the entire process for their IEP. It doesn't count the kids in referral
or that we're in the process of. So our actual number of students on IEP is higher than that. That's just the number that we get funded for based on a snapshot in time.
Well, 11, up to 11%.
Right.
Yes. Okay. Three other things that I think are important. The Three Rivers School District has decided that they will no longer be supporting Newbridge School, which is part of OYA. Oregon Department of Ed has asked Grants Pass School District if they would like to partner with Newbridge. We are having conversations about that at the administrative and director level. And we're going to be presenting to the board our recommendation at the February board meeting on whether we think this is an area that would be suited to D7, or if we are going to recommend to the board that we not take that on. But I wanted to give you a heads up on that, that's going to be one of the conversations we'll have in a month, and I will be sending you some emails with more information about that so that you can ask me questions, get information, have a tour of the facility if you'd like to do so. We can have time to set that up. Okay, so let me know if you're interested in having a tour, whether it's a group or small groups. Okay, all right. We are working on a new campus for GP Flex. As you know, they're currently housed in a 1 classroom room over at Gladiola. I've been working with modern construction, which creates the modulars that you see in school districts across the state. I've been in contact with ODE today about a possible grant to make some purchases of some modulars so that we can create a facility that would be a 3 modular setup with 5 classrooms and 1 office space. We can get the modulars total delivered and put together for $325,000 was the price today. That does not include any site work, electrical, water, sewer, those kind of things. I have Nate from the maintenance department working on that. We're trying to move the campus closer to Grants Pass High School so that students have more flexibility with that. And our goal is to increase the number of students at GP Flex from the current 105 to 225 over the next couple of years. Keith and I have been in conversations about that. We have students that are attending other online schools that are in competition with the Grants Pass School District. Those would be Oregon Connections Academy, Oregon Virtual Academy, Baker Academy, and we want to have our students back in Grants Pass. We want to create a facility that will be a draw to them and help us to get back to a more stable ADM. So I'm working on that. I'll have more information for you on that project at the February board meeting, but I wanted to let you know that that was one of the things we're working on. Finally, new governor was sworn in yesterday. That means there's changes at Oregon Department of Education and changes to the governor's advisory group. So relationships that we've built over the past 8 years are now changing pretty rapidly. We believe Colt Gill at ODE will be with us till June 30th. He has announced his retirement. We no indication that the new governor will be asking him to step down before June 30th, but you never know. The governor has replaced Lindsay Kapp as the education policy advisor with Melissa Goff, who was superintendent at Albany, and with Pooja Bhatt. And so Lindsay Kapp was a singular governor's advisor on education. Now he's being replaced with 2 different folks, each with specific tasks. I know Melissa a little bit, not a lot. So it's not somebody I can just pick up the phone and talk to like I could with Colt Gill, but and I don't know Pooja very well at all. So we'll be working on those relationships as well. So as far as Colt Gill's position, we're not sure. The governor has announced that she will be doing a nationwide search. So don't know who is going to be running ODE come July 1. Questions on any of that? I think I have covered it all.
On the modulars, are you gonna bring them to the Grants Pass High School campus, or are you gonna keep them on Gladiola? I didn't get that.
I want to move them across the street over there to that vacant lot. So,
Easier access for students.
yeah, we want to have students be able to access Grants Pass High School. There is a program that the state has that if you're creating a new school, a new campus, there's $3 million worth of seed money that ODE will provide. And we're like, oh, we just need 600,000 would cover most of the costs. So I've sent that email today. I've not got a response back. As soon as I know something, I will be glad to share it with the board. Okay.
Just have to get.
Well, let's get some more modulars. Let's take the 3 million. Here we can build some more basketball courts, or we need a new financial program. There's
I don't think they'll allow that. I don't think they'll allow.
And open a new north.
Well, yeah, I don't think $3 million is going to go very far
Yeah.
north.
For a year.
Yeah, so but those are the things we're working on, and I'm excited about the direction we're going with some of these programs. I'm really think we're on the right path as far as stabilizing enrollment and growing enrollment. And I like some of the opportunities that Newbridge would provide D7. So, and I'll put that in a pretty well laid out email to you folks.
How many teachers does that translate into?
Well, so at
Newbridge.
Newbridge, if a state agency takes over another state agency, so in this case, we'd be taking over for Three Rivers, all the employees are held harmless for 1 year. Okay, so we couldn't make any changes for one school year. Not that we would necessarily do that. But there are 5 teachers there, six positions, 5 teachers and a principal. Does that sound right?
5 or 6.
5 or 6. Yeah. One of the things that is different between Three Rivers and D7 is their indirect from the state is 3.75%. So on $4 million, that's X amount of money. D7's indirect is 4.5%. So we get another 0.75 more than Three Rivers. They don't know why. It's just what it says on their little spreadsheet. So we would be what?
Said I could fix that spreadsheet.
No, we want more.
Oh, I can make it higher.
Tap in there, 10%. But we can share employees, you know, so that if we have a halftime teacher position at one of our schools, they can actually be paid for halftime out of D7 and halftime out of the Newbridge if they work halftime at Newbridge. That saves our general fund dollars and so forth. So those are things we're looking at right now. And then there's just something to be said that students who live in Grants Pass should be served by the Grants Pass School District. And but we'll get you that information. And it's a great facility to tour. Yeah. If you haven't been in there, it's well worth your time to go take a look, see.
Okay, any other questions? Okay, 6.0 board reports and special concerns. Think no. Oh.
I just wanted to say that Navion's program that really excited to see that for our kids and get a plan. I guess I was a little curious as how much is in the middle school, but not too much yet.
No, actually, Mr. Meunier and Heather Rankin at South have both been utilizing the product and actually are finding it quite helpful in their classes that we have at 7th and 8th grade, both schools, 7th and 8th grade. Counselors get into the classroom and have been getting into the classroom. Shauna could pull a usage report and we could share with you how much it's been used this year for 6th, 7th, and 8th. We see it increasing over time. We've just been doing that dabble thing, but we're hoping to have it be a well-used product 6th, 12th.
Well,
They're using
I
it
just,
for career exploration, and all of our kids in advisory are setting goals and things like that. Because they're becoming pretty familiar with the navigational tools right now.
at any rate, just want to say good job. I really like that program. Like to see our kids having a plan, a thing that helps them get a.
Fun seeing their enthusiasm for the product.
Did have one other comment related to enrollment. It looks like our secondary enrollment is not quite back to where it was pre-COVID, but it's pretty darn close.
Getting there. Yes, sir.
It's only the elementary schools that are still depressed a little bit. So that's things will be coming back together here pretty soon.
I just had two quick little things. At city council yesterday, the Caveman Pool project came up and the city manager mentioned that at some point the board was going to be brought some information regarding that project and the layout and the options. And so I wasn't sure if that was something that was coming sooner or later, or if it's not on our radar quite yet.
We haven't seen it
At all.
Okay.
They
Well, I'll
asked
follow
us
up
to
with
review some proposals, but that was October. We haven't heard anything since.
them. Okay.
Okay.
The usual.
Is were the proposals regarding scope or of the project?
What's the architects? People.
Yes.
Design it.
Oh, okay.
She's
Okay.
an
All right, I'll follow up with him.
Okay.
The other thing is regarding the facilities committee.
Yes.
And I think maybe this is more just asking for an agenda item at the next meeting, which I think is maybe in just like a week or two.
Yes.
Regarding frequency of facility committee meetings. I'm going to propose that it's monthly instead of quarterly. So
You
just
got
to
it?
have that discussion.
Sure.
Okay,
Yep. Tanya, you have that? Got it.
that's all.
All righty. No problem.
Anybody else? All right. We are moving on to action items. So the Policy Advisory Committee is making recommendations for first reading on the policy listed, or the policy listed in 7.1. I'm looking for a motion.
Member DeLagrange moves to approve 7.1.
Member Brownell second.
Moved and seconded. Is there a discussion?
Very good job.
All right, Tanya. Member Knopfler,
Yes.
Member DeLagrange,
Yes.
Member Richardson,
Yes.
Member Brownell,
Yes.
Member Coolman.
Yeah.
Member Williams.
Yes. The Policy Advisory Committee is making a recommendation for a second and final reading of 7.2.1 and 7.2.2. Looking for a motion.
Member DeLagrange moves to approve 7.2.1 and 7.2.2.
Member Brownell second.
Moved and seconded. Is there a discussion? Any discussion? Hearing none. Tanya?
Member Nelson,
Yes.
Member DeLagrange,
Yes.
Member Richardson,
Yes.
Member Brownell,
Yes.
Member Coolman.
Yes.
Member Williams.
Yeah. 7.3, 2020 or 2021-22 corrective action plan.
Member DeLaGrange, so moved.
Member Nelson, second.
Moved and seconded. Is there any discussion? Yeah,
Member Nelson,
Yes.
member DeLaGrange,
Yes.
member Richardson,
Yes.
member Brownell,
Yes.
member Coleman,
Yes.
member Wilkins.
yes. Next action item at 7.4 PE courses and their planned course statements.
Member Nelson, so moved.
Member DeLaGrange, second.
Moved and seconded. Is there any discussion? Yeah,
Member Nelson,
Yes.
member DeLaGrange,
Yes.
member Richardson,
Yes.
member Brownell,
Yes.
member Coleman.
Yes.
Member Wilkins.
yes. Addition 7.5 Budget Committee member appointment.
Yeah, board, I'd like to introduce you, Corey Ingram. Corey has went through a grueling process to be selected for the budget committee and you want to say anything real quick?
Sure, sorry I didn't dress up a little bit better. I was out helping coach right before I ran in here, so I came in smelling like a wet dog, and that's probably why no one's sitting by me, but.
Well, he also keeps kicking his water bottle all over.
Should have been coaching soccer. But yeah, I'm really happy to be here and be able to help out, so I'm excited to get it going and see what we can do.
Thank you.
So in the past, we have voted on budget committee members, so I move that we appoint Corey Ingram to the position of budget committee member.
Member Nelson, second.
Moved and seconded. Is there any discussion whether we're gonna let Corey in?
Well,
At this point,
and besides his deep involvement with his kids and coaching, he has been involved in multi-million-dollar budgets and development and implementation of said. And I'm excited to nominate him.
Was there other nominees or what was this
There were two other,
process?
there were two other applicants that we interviewed, and they were also good candidates who have been very supportive of their children and of District 7 programs for longer periods of time, but we felt the qualifications presented by Corey were what pushed him at the top.
And who was the group that did the interviews? Was that?
Andrew
us?
Nichols and
No, who did the interview?
Yeah.
Yeah, so it was you,
Me.
Debbie, Nefeli, myself. Is it the four of us?
Mhm.
Four of us.
Okay, I'm used to seeing the applicants' applications and materials.
For budget committee?
Well, if we're approving it.
Yes.
I need
okay.
to see that,
Okay.
so I don't know if that was sent out or not, but
Well, this process actually happened several months ago, and we were supposed to have this meeting in December, and then we kind of fell through a crack, and today I said, when do we vote on Corey? So I apologize for the slight difference in process over previous years. We looked up at policy and it's not laid out step by step in policy. So we're going by past practice, and there were a couple steps that were not as traditional as we have been.
okay, did we get the applications months ago? When
Yes.
we did, okay,
Yes.
all right.
Prior to the interviews, we all got them.
There was a formal process and notification in the paper, and applications were received, and the time frame was closed, and the interview process, and I believe there was a mention of, who wants to be on that committee at that time, but I admit I'm a bit fuzzy. I feel grateful that I remembered that we hadn't done this step, so.
Thank you for the explanation.
Well, I appreciate the fact that we have subcommittees that are doing a lot of this extra work and making the recommendations to the board. So thank you for that.
I believe we have a second.
Yes, I second it.
Yes, so roll call.
Member Nelson.
Yes.
Member De La Grange.
Yes.
Member Richardson.
Yes.
Member Brownell.
Yes.
Member Coolman.
Yes.
Member Wilson.
Yes.
Congratulations.
Congratulations. 8.0 future meeting dates. We have a policy advisory committee.
I think we're gonna have to move that off January 24th because we have not received policies from the OSBA for January. Is that correct, Tanya?
Yeah, we're tentatively leaving it, just Spencer said in a couple, it's gonna be later in January. I don't know if there'll be enough time to get the information to everybody.
Okay, so we're tentatively
Tentative,
keeping it there.
yes.
Okay,
We have facilities advisory committee on January 30th at 9 a.m. Strategic planning committee is to be determined. Board meeting, next board meeting is February 10th at 5.
And that is, that's the typo, it should be February 4th.
oh, Valentine's, Day.
Oh, boy.
No plans for Valentine's Day for anybody, right?
It's like, oh, riveting. Okay, I will call this meeting to a recess, general session. And
It's on off by now.
I.
You gotta do.
Nobody there to come in?
I'm not sure who gave what, but.
Are we back live?
Did you have time? You want to be in here?
Are they all the same?
No.
That's the new chair.
Save those for my next meeting. Oh my.
No pressure on my back, but my legs.
Look like I'm rowing.
I got it, I need to adjust it. I have it still on my.
I'm not sure. Sorry.
Chocolate.
Nope.
Right.
Don't we put words or something in it? Okay, ready?
Don't, come on.
Yeah.
I know.
Well, the tool.
Going to reconvene the general session. I'm looking for a motion for item 10.2.
So move. Member Nelson.
No, I don't understand.
Negotiations.
The MOA that we discussed for the one.
For the bus driver.
Oh, okay.
Member De La Grange, second.
All right, having a second, is there a discussion? Hearing none, roll call.
Member Nelson.
Yes.
Member De La Grange.
Yes.
Member Richardson.
Yes.
Member Brownell.
Yes.
Member Coolman.
Yes.
Member Wilson.
Yes.
No, it is no.
Adjourn, general session. Thank you, guys.
15, 8 o'clock.